Good evening, Dan, everyone on the meeting tonight. Um, Give me a thumbs up if you can see Ham Radio Online resources page. I've texted the link to that, and you'll see why a little bit later. Dan asked me to put this presentation together tonight, and we're sort of putting a few things together here. We're going to talk a little bit about the new way of getting information on the PackRat presentations, and I'm also going to include hopefully some things that might be useful for clubs that are looking for presentations or programs for their meetings, whether they're online or in person. This is my contact information, kzt@arl.net. I also have a webpage, www.kzt.com. And as I mentioned earlier, the link for tonight's presentation is tiny.cc/HROMR. And whenever you see serifed font in my presentation, usually italicized, and or you see this little link icon, that means that there is a resource that is hyperlinked to that. I hate the underlines in presentations, so I remove those. So current situation, most clubs are not able to hold in-person meetings due to the pandemic. Some clubs are using online meetings, and most clubs need programs just as they always did. They need programs and activities for their online meeting just as they did for their typical in-person meetings. So the RatPack is one source of a variety of online presentations that are available. You can watch the live sessions. You can watch the recordings of the live sessions. You can download the recording of the session. And in many cases, there's also resources from the session, such as a slideshow or documents or instructions that might be there. And all this information is a potential source for live speakers for your club also. So in addition to going through these sessions, you might decide, well, that's a really good speaker. Maybe he'd be willing to do, or she'd be willing to do a presentation for our club. So one of the things that I want to make aware to everyone is not only can you use the meetings themselves, but you can also use them as a good resource for finding people that might be able to do a presentation for you. So RatPack will also be presenting a session on February 17th on using Zoom and some of the other online tools. I know I'll be touching on Google Meet for sure, and Google Classroom a little bit. So I'll be talking about those and other online tools for holding successful meetings for your clubs. So if you have any information in that area that you'd like to share with me before then, please feel free to email me at kzt.com. If your club is doing some things that you think might be helpful to other clubs. I'm going to talk a little bit about online meeting basics, some of the differences between an online meeting and an in-person meeting. I'm going to talk a little about training of the leaders and members of the group on using Zoom, something that Dan does before each of the meetings, which is a really good idea, but it's something that you need to get your club used to using some of the features of whatever tool you're using so you can use it more effectively for your group. I'm going to talk a little bit about screen sharing and also other things beyond screen sharing, such as online whiteboards and other ways that you can collaborate with multiple members at the same time using a shared screen. Talk a little bit about breakout rooms and other built-in tools. When our club did their typical holiday dinner this year, which had to be virtual and with no food, we still wanted to do the presentation, but one of the big things about the holiday dinner was the chance to catch up with friends. So we started out this year's meeting with breakout rooms, and I'll talk a little bit about how you can use breakout rooms to make it a little more personal and a little bit a little more friendly for your club members when they're using these online tools. So that's coming up on February 17th. Now, as far as getting out RatPack information, I'm fairly new to the group, but I know that many of you are been here for quite a while. But there's three main email groups that are available on groups.io that are available to the general public, and the RatPack at groups.io, New Hams, and then the SEC-ARES group. So these are ways in which information is passed about RatPack events and RatPack upcoming presentations. RatPack doesn't have the time or resources to manage a website, so the decision was made to use the Group.io mailing list as one of the main ways to communicate. And then we depend on existing websites to pass the information on. I know there's a number of sites who post our upcoming meetings on their website very regularly, and that's a great way for the information to get out. Um, the, Also, utilization of amateur radio news sites. Sometimes you'll see a report about something that's upcoming in one of those. The newest way we want to roll out today, and when I look at the statistics, I see that 273 people have already taken a look at our new spreadsheets. And those are the RatPack video presentation list spreadsheet. And it's available in two formats, the published format and the menus format. And I'll talk about the difference between both of those. And we will also share the links in the chat coming up here. But they are both available through these links on the website, on the internet. So the first one is the published format, and that's just the name I came up with it because we're using a Google Sheet that is shared and it is published. Now, when you publish a Google Sheet, it removes the menus from the top, so that's how you can tell that it's a published sheet. It also moves the tabs to the top as opposed to the bottom for each of the subsheets on the spreadsheet. The second type is what I'm referring to as the menu format, simply because it still has a menu with it. It is a shared viewable document. It's not editable. So some of the menu items are not available if you just have view privileges, and the ones that are available will be dark, the other ones will be grayed out. And you'll notice that it has this view only on it. So the biggest differences between the two is the published form is I think easier to view. It's more like a web page instead of a spreadsheet. There's no menus to confuse users, and that's what it basically is. The menu format has a couple advantages for other people. It can be downloaded or copied. You can make a copy as a Google spreadsheet. You can download as an Excel sheet. You can download a PDF, a tab delimited file, etc. So if for some reason you'd want to rearrange or work with the data in different ways, that's available to you. There's also more printing options. Although you can print the published form, it doesn't always print very well on the page because you don't have control over it like you do with the menu format. You can also do finding, filtering, and sorting of the information. So you could search for one particular presenter or one topic by using those tools. You can also set notification rules to receive emails when the spreadsheet is changed. And I'll show you how to do that because that's something that you might find very useful. Now, on both formats, they each have 4 tabs that are viewable by those that have using the shared spreadsheet, and they are sorted by date, topic, and presenter and category. So that's available on both formats. They also have clickable links to access resources, to view video, to download associated files or resources. And if the presentation is in the future, they have a link where you can click to join the Zoom meeting for upcoming sessions. And that's on the date cell. So let me give you a demonstration. So I'm going to back out of here for a second and jump into the presentation here. So the first one I'm going to take a look at is the presentation format, and give me a thumbs up if you're seeing that. Very good. So you notice at the top we have 4 tabs. Right now we're on date. If we click on the topic tab, I've made them different colors so that you can tell that when you're on each one. And you'll see that this one is sorted not by date, but by topic. We also have one sorted by presenters. So if you want to see, this is the presentation I'm doing tonight. I like this way to sort because when I went to grade school, when I went to kindergarten, I was so excited because my name began with an A. I thought I'd be listed first, but I always found out I was listed by last name alphabetically, so I was always in the middle. So whether they started from the end or the beginning, but on this particular spreadsheet, I'm sorted with the A's up here. So only Alan beats me on this. We also have a list by category, and the categories are pretty general, but we just sort of gave a single word or 2-word category list to each of these. So that you can find things based on category. So this is an example of the video presentation published list. Now the second one I'm going to show you is what I call the menued list. And this looks very similar, but now the tabs are at the bottom because we have a traditional spreadsheet appearance with a list of menus on the top. And I promised you I'd show you the one thing, and that is under Tools, the notification rules. If you click on this, you can come in and choose that anytime changes are made to the spreadsheet, that you get an email sent to you. And you can click on this and it will let you set it up and have an email sent to you. Now, the one thing that you have to be is you have to be logged into an account that has an email associated with it. So when you're logged into that account, it will automatically set up this notification to send an email to you whenever there's a change made in the sheet. You also have the ability to create filtered views. You can print from right here on this little printing tool, where you can choose how you want to print, landscape or portrait, etc. You can download a copy as a PDF, or you can download an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV or TDF or wherever you'd like. Now you notice that some of the columns are grayed out. You can't format the sheet, you can't insert things, and you can't change anything in the data, but you can go through any of these other menus and utilize these tools. So depending on which one you like, both of these two formats are available. And what I'd like to do now is take questions on either of these two formats that anyone might have. So I'm going to go ahead and pause here for a second. I'll leave the screen share up and see if we have any chat questions.
One
Don't
hand
have
raised.
anything yet. Anyone have a question? Go ahead.
One hand raised.
Okay. I can't see it. So whoever has their hand raised there. Oh, Dan. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, so I guess, and this is more of a Google Docs question than anything specific to this sheet, but if you wanted to extract this or get a copy of this that you kept current on your local Aries Group's webpage, that would be just the same as doing it with any other Google Doc?
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
It works pretty much the same exact way as any other Google Doc that you'd want to work with. And by keeping this a live document and not having an Excel spreadsheet that we're sharing, this is a very easy way to have it always be live and always be up to date.
All right, thanks.
And you could choose to embed this even if you'd like to. You can use the embed tools on your website building tool to, for example, embed the published version using the URL that's at the top.
Are you guys going to be employing any kind of embedded process to get the stuff up there with, less work and stress on Dan?
Dan got a nice little letter today and got a nice little one sheet of instructions today on how to manipulate this. So he's still going to be doing some work on this in the back end for right now.
All right. Well,
but I tried to make it. Dan, he'll be surprised because I made some changes even since last night to make it a little easier to use. Other questions? Okay, well, I'm happy to come back to if you have questions later. Let's go ahead and continue with the presentation then. So let's talk about some other online resources besides those available from PackRat. Ratpack, let me get that right. There's a whole variety of YouTube videos out there that you might find useful, and there's, just like anything else with YouTube, there's some great ones and there's some horrible ones and there's everything in between. So once you find a good source, I'd suggest you subscribe to that person and you can get more information. The ARRL has 3 resources we're going to talk about briefly, some a little bit more than others. They have the Learning Network webinars, promotional videos, and they have the video library. Contest University has a set of recordings from the last couple of years that are available for free that you can view. QSO Today is having their virtual Ham Expo coming up in March, so there'll be another series of the Ham Expo, similar to what was ran in September, I think it was last year. RSGB has a series called, I think it's called 8 o'clock or something of that nature. I'll talk about that in a moment. So in addition to using the resources on the previous page, you can also use them to find individuals to present live to your club if you don't want to use a recording. Some presenters may allow you to use their slideshow if they cannot present to your club. I know with the AIRU presentations that I did last year, they wanted to have them in Spanish also, and I don't speak Spanish, so I provided the slideshow to them. Someone translated it and then did the presentation in Spanish, and I I tuned into that webinar just to hear to see my slides and see them in Spanish and have the presentation in Spanish. It was rather interesting to do. And I make all my slide presentations available to someone else that would like to present with them. As long as they just acknowledge me, they're all published on their Creative Commons, so I have no problem with that. But check first before you do use someone else's slide presentation, because they may or may not want you to do that. You can also discover topics as you're viewing these videos or looking through these, and research and create your own presentations. You might say, well, I could do that better, or, he didn't cover this portion of this topic. I need to do that. So they're a great jumping off point to give you some ideas on what you can do. You can also publish these links for these different resources, the videos, the handouts, etc., in your new club newsletter or on your website to allow members to view them on their own. You don't necessarily have to all sit there as a group and watch a video. Sometimes it's much easier if you give a list of videos, and then people can pick which one they're most interested in and watch them on their own. A warning about using videos. Although ratpack allows you to use our videos with your online club meetings, other owners may limit or prevent public showings or showings in an online meeting of videos. Even if you're allowed to stream the video, you may or may not be allowed to simultaneously record your online meeting. So make sure of this before you use any materials, that you're not violating copyright rules or or presentation rules. I guess I was going to say broadcasting, but you're not really broadcasting it. But again, make sure that you're not stepping on anyone's toes. So as I mentioned earlier, there's a wide variety of YouTubes out there. One of the problems I quite often have, and I worked with schools a lot, so I'm going to approach this from the opinion of showing videos in the classroom, but it also applies when you're showing them in any public setting, such as a club meeting. And my colleague that I worked with before, Eric Kurtz, he's not a ham, so there's no call sign there, has a great blog, and he has a whole presentation on his blog called Safe Use of YouTubes with Groups. He actually calls it with classes, but I changed it to groups. And he talks about ways that you can use YouTube in a safer format, and it's actually a better format as far as you controlling the show. One of the easiest ways, though, and he talks about it in his presentation, is simply to embed your embed your videos into Google Slides. You can control the start and stop time. So if you only want to show part of a video, it's very easy to do that. You can also eliminate the comments section. That's the section on the videos on YouTube that sometimes can have obnoxious comments. You can also eliminate the listing of other videos on the right side of your screen, which sometimes can have, again, distracting or obnoxious things. So when you're showing your video within a Google slideshow, you can eliminate all those and control the times very easily. So let's look at some of the individual resources. The first one I'm going to talk about is the ARRL's webinar series. It's part of the ARRL Learning Network. The ARRL Learning Network webinars, and I have a link here for both the upcoming sessions and the recorded sessions. Now, coincidentally, I'm doing the upcoming session tomorrow. I'm actually just coincidentally, I'm presenting on amateur radio logging software tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern time. To watch the live webinars, you have to be an ARRL member. To watch the recorded ones, though, I don't think there's any requirements of a membership, because you just have to log in. You do have to provide an email address, but you don't have to be a member to watch the recorded videos. And I think there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 16 recorded videos, and there's another 8 scheduled for the next couple months coming up. If you're interested in doing one, they also have a place on the page where you can send a proposal for a webinar that you'd like to do. They're half-an-hour webinars with approximately 15-minute question and answer time, so they're a little bit shorter than most of the other webinars. The other ARRL resource is and I'm going to click on the link and show you what they look like. Here's the page for them. And I'm going to get a message that I'm not logged in as a member on this particular one, so I'm not going to log in right here. Maybe let's see if I can remember my password. I'm not going to do it because it has a password that'll show up on the page here. So let me drag over a page from another browser that I'm logged in on. I had to use a browser that wasn't didn't have the edit rights on the spreadsheet, so I could show it to you better. So I'm now logged in. So if you go to the front page here under the webinars, and you can come down here and it tells you how to register. You click here to register. It tells you the upcoming sessions. And then down at the bottom, they have a link for the recordings. In addition, though, this page not only shows the recordings, but it shows the upcoming. Here's the featured videos coming up. Here's some other live upcoming ones. And then here's the recently added videos. These are all the ones that are pre-recorded. So there's, let's see, 9, looks like 15 currently. Let me pop the right page open here again. The second thing is the ARRL promotional videos. These are mostly PSAs, and there's some on history of the league and things. Some of them are not real current, but some of them are interesting. And then they also have a video library with some additional resources on it. You can take a look at both of those. Contest University is typically held at Dayton. Last year it was held online, but there's recordings for multiple years available. It's usually held at Dayton on the Thursday before the Hamvention, and they're usually great sessions, and I've attended for a number of years now. I think that they've actually had 10 years worth of sessions, not all of them recorded, but the last couple of years are. And these are great recordings, and you can watch these by clicking on the links. As I mentioned, QSO Today virtual Ham Expo is coming up. It'll be coming up this March 13th and 14th. There is going to be a small fee for it this year to cover the cost of the expo. I'm presenting 3 sessions at that coming up. I mentioned the RGB videos. They're called Tonight at 8, and there's a link here. They're posted via YouTube, and here's some of the ones that are out there, and their conversations and information available. And then the Denby Dale Amateur Radio Club in Central England has a whole series of club presentations that they've been recording for the last couple months, and they're very good. Some very good presentations included in that, and those are available again via YouTube. I put together an article a couple of years, I think it was about a year ago, for a local radio club on keeping up with amateur radio news and events. And I think this is especially important during the pandemic, that you encourage your club members to keep up to date on what's going on. So you're welcome to use this article if you like with your local club newsletter or on your website or however you choose to do it. But it basically talks about some daily news resources, things such as Southgate, amateur radio, the ARRL News, EHAM Radio Daily, and QRZ Now all have daily or even in some cases hourly news articles. Also the CQ news desk. There's a number of mailing lists available at the Groups IO for different topic areas. The Yahoo groups have now been phased out, but there's also still the Mailman QTH mailing groups. ARRL has a number of bulletins that you can get on a weekly basis in most cases, and they're available so you can subscribe to those and receive information. Our section, the Ohio section, has a very active journal. Once a month, the Ohio section journal is published. It's usually 30 to 40 pages long, and we have subscribers from all over, not just Ohio, and then they do a weekly fill in between that. So you're welcome to add information for your division to this if you want to publish this article. And then monthly magazines are still a viable way to get information. QST is one of ARWRL's magazines, but if you're a member of the ARRL, you now have online access to, in addition, QST, the new magazine, which the name is going to slip for me right now.
On the air.
Thank you. And QEX and the National Contest Journal are all available online. So there's no reason not to be reading all the publications now. In addition, there's a number of blogs and information out there. DX Engineering has a great blog called On All Bands, and some of the manufacturers have blogs available. There's also a wide variety of podcasts available, and I have some links to different people's podcasts and information here. These icons are actually links to go to information on them. And again, that's available at tiny.cc/ARN, I'm sorry, AR News, Amateur Radio News. If you're looking for speakers for your club, don't forget to check with your local ARRL section and find out whether your section officers or even your division officers or appointees are interested in doing presentations for you. You have to just ask and you'll be surprised. Many of them are very willing to do presentations. So a good place to check. Some of the sections and some of the divisions have a speaker bureau with a list of potential speakers and programs that you can contact for information. If you're just out there trying to find some other speakers, one of the good sources of people that write and publish amateur radio books. We're having an author, K0NR tomorrow. He has a book on VHF soda work, and he's going to be presenting to our local club our next meeting. There's a whole variety of amateur radio YouTubers out there that you might be interested in doing a presentation for you, or any of the bloggers. Also, don't forget the fact that there's local community groups that you might have access to that'd be more than willing to do an online Zoom program for you. And the fact that you can do it anywhere in the world increases the odds of finding a good program. Although not amateur radio specific topics, you may find that they hold lots of interest for your club. I know we had a presentation from the local scenic railroad, and it was very interesting to our club members. So you might tap some of those. So there's no reason not to have a good program for your upcoming meeting. So this slideshow is available at tiny.cc/HROMR. And I've also put that in the chat. So any questions? Francina is asking me. Okay, I got that. Okay. She was just asking for my email address, and I'll actually share that with everyone. It's k8zt@arrl.net, and I'll just that's available. And let's see. I don't have any things right now. Any hands raised? No hands raised. So again, the feature that we want to really point out tonight is the RADPAC video presentation list, available so that you can share these with your members, with your local members, with anyone else that you want. Again, you have the published version and the non-published version, we're going to call it the menued version, and I will send those links out here through the chat also. 1 second. While I'm doing that, if there's any questions, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, this is Little D, Dan. Do you have any idea how widespread the use of spreadsheets is for tracking data in amateur radio clubs and ARIES groups throughout the nation?
I don't know that much about groups, but I know I do a lot, and I'd be happy to share some of that information if someone was interested in that. I do an analysis of my log all the time using that, and for some reason, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Let me just send this chat out real quick here. Okay, so here's the two links via the chat. Let me just bring this up real quick on the screen here. I'll drag it over here. So I do a rather extensive analysis of my log. And what I do is I export them into my spreadsheet using CSV files. So I have all my log for the last almost 40 years now. about over 90,000, about 90,000 QSOs here, 93,000, I guess. And I do things like pivot tables for DX CQ zones. It'll take a few seconds to load. We'll wait for that to load. Here we go. QSOs by year. QSOs by mode. And something I just started doing recently, I start looking at first worked. I was interested originally finding out how long it took me to get my first DXCC and my first worked all states. So I just ran them through the pivot table using Google Sheets here. And after I did it for my first time ever, then I start looking at each of my years, and I was able to see how long it took me each year to get to worked all states, for example. And you'll notice this year it took me till January 4th to get to worked all states.
Are Google Sheets spreadsheet features sort of interoperable with Excel's?
Yes, they're very similar. And most of the things you can do with one, you can do with the other. There are a few Google Sheet features that you can't do in Excel. So I was a really big Excel user, and then I start working a lot with Google Sheets. And when I first started, way back when Google Sheets first came out, they were very limited, but now they're very full featured. But they also have another whole set of features that work very well on HTML features. So you can do things like pull HTML tables in from websites. Let me bring this up real quick here. So what I was doing is I was using a spreadsheet to pull in the information for, well, I can bring it up on here. Oh, no, it won't be there. It's already last year. I was using a spreadsheet to pull up information for our local club from the ARRL website. So on the ARRL website, they had a list of the logs that were coming in for field day. And by clicking up here, you'll see the formula. Import HTML allows you to pull tables of data from a website and bring it into a spreadsheet automatically, so you can display it in different formats. Then I could go out and I could use pivot tables to figure out things like how many entries were from each club, and clubs in Ohio, and section entries by class. So this was all information simply pulled from the raw data by using one simple formula, equals import HTML. Other questions?
Will this import JSON tables as
I think it will. I'm not sure. I've not played with them, but I know it does a variety of tables. There's some other import features on it.
There's a future for the skill sets you've acquired.
But this is just what I do to relax. I do these weird things like build these giant spreadsheets. I'm not a programmer, but I know how to copy and paste, and I know how to use some features. So that's, and one of the nice things about using Google Sheets is that because they're shareable, you can have multiple people working on the same sheet. By the way, if you are using a sheet for collecting data, like in your section, one of my strongest suggestions is don't let the people that are giving you the data enter it directly into the spreadsheet. Instead, what you want to do is you want to create a Google form, FORM, and then that information feeds from the form into a spreadsheet. The responses are gathered in a spreadsheet, and then you, as the originator of the form, can manipulate the spreadsheet and analyze it. So it's a great way to have people who are not used to working with spreadsheets enter data by filling out questions on a form, and then the response sheet goes into a spreadsheet. When I was working with the schools, we had one instance where there was 10 different cafeterias that had their food cooked in one location, and they had to fill out a spreadsheet for each of the 10 schools every day with how many of each of the meals they needed. And what would happen is inevitably someone would go into the shared spreadsheet and type on the wrong line or put the wrong information in. So instead what we did is we just created a form where each school would simply click on the form and their information would feed into the spreadsheet, and they would never see the spreadsheet, just the head cook at the main cafeteria would see the form. So again, with your sections, if you're looking at gathering information from different areas in your section or different members in your community, a form that feeds into a spreadsheet is a really easy way to do that. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen here. Dan, would you like to add anything about the resources?
I think you did a real good job of pointing them out. You covered some things that I wasn't aware of. These every Zoom session, I learn something every time we do these things. Now, hopefully, most everybody here feels the same way. So yes, you did a great job. Appreciate that.
Hey, Anthony, how many videos does the ratpack have on the spreadsheet?
Let me bring it up here real quick. I'm behind here. It has not counting tonight, there is 59.
Okay, so that's 59 possible programs.
Yes.
What has happened is I've been giving Zoom presentations since last January, twice a week. Yeah, 2 of them a week, Wednesdays and Thursdays. Some of those Zoom sessions were private Zoom sessions with section managers and other things, and the private ones were not posted. They're not available. So we've done a lot of them, but some of them we can't share. So that's why the number is where it's at.
Oh, and please share not only the spreadsheets, but also share the mailing list with your members so that they can subscribe to the various mailing lists. And we really strongly would like to have their suggestions on programs that they'd like to see. So by being part of the mailing list, they can be interactive in this community.
Dan, are you holding your hand up? I found it up ahead.
Yeah, and I even did it the right way. So for suggestions, how about working on an alternate process to replace the ARIES 001, 002, and 004 in something that could be fed into a sheet that would aggregate it for first a district, then a section, and then all of ARRL.
I'm not quite sure I'm following you there, what you're asking for.
Hypothetically, of course, let's say that, let me turn this off permanent. It's off. Hypothetically, of course, let's say ARIES Connect was suddenly no longer available. And could we use most, and I think most sections I'm aware of do use spreadsheets in one form or another to collect the data that they're sending in on their reports if they're not using ARIES Connect. So I'm just wondering how complex it would be to come up with a set of interactive sheets and web pages. Even forget the web pages. Let the just the most simplistic, least cost way to replace ARIES Connect with something substantially better than the old-fashioned way of filling out 3 forms. All have the same data elements, and none of them have them labeled and numbered in the same location. In other words, we're going to replace an archaic and unplanned paper system with a series of spreadsheets, which is what a lot of sections are doing on their own as it is. But this time include ARRL.
I can see where that's very possible, but it's something we have to coordinate with ARRL, since they will be getting the end result. And there's a lot of sections that may, it's just like everything. You got 71 sections, not everybody thinks alike. So there would be some issues there, but where they would like to do that, I imagine we can generate something, a template for them to use within their sections.
Well, exactly. Well, hang on a minute. ARRL has, I'm not sure that any of us understand exactly what ARRL is using our data for, but it's pretty straightforward and simplistic based on the way the paper forms and ARIES Connect are functioning. All they want to know is how many amateurs spent how much time on what events. Bingo, that's it. A lot of sections and a lot of ECs have far more sophisticated needs themselves. but with this combination of JSON and HTML and spreadsheets, I stopped paying attention to spreadsheets in 1980 something. Different story, but it seems like all the tools are there, readily available for free, basically, where everybody's needs could be met, and we could do away with this reporting issue that I think has caused a lot of Aries units to become Aries in name only, and they're doing whatever they want, however they want, with the agencies they're working with. And this could, I think, eliminate a whole bunch of the discordance and fear that and mistrust actually that's developed over the last 25 years or so.
Why don't you put that question on hold until tomorrow's meeting?
Because I couldn't wait. He's here now.
Oh.
All right. Yeah. No. Okay. You're right. I'm sorry.
Well, you're fine, Dan. Any other questions out there?
I'll just mention one other thing, and this is not for specific use, so it's not directed towards areas or anything, but with the forms, you can collect other information in addition to, filling out an answer or a yes or no or things like that. But they also have a feature on there that will allow you to upload files along with your submitting of the form. So if you wanted to use this to collect, like if you want to run a little contest locally and you want to collect the logs, you could use a Google form where they would fill in the user information and then click the upload file button, attach their file, and they could have it sent to you that way. So this wouldn't be great for a big contest, but if you're doing a little like FM simplex contest with your local section or your local county or whatever, it's a great way to handle that without having to build something that's designed for, a much bigger operation.
Any more questions? I'll try to download this presentation of Anthony's and attach it to the email we sent out afterwards, so everybody has it in their records there also. So this should be long lasting for you folks. One of the things that I am concerned about is the clubs. Some of the clubs are doing great in this pandemic. Others are struggling. There's lots of reasons for that. And what we're hoping to do with some of this stuff is help them with clubs. So please, if you have access to your clubs, get this information out to them. Anthony presented a lot of good stuff. Let's give these guys as much help as possible.
And I'll send the link out here again to everyone for the slideshow presentation in the chat.
Well, for hour-long presentations for club use, I don't think we can do better.
In addition to that, as we go forward, please tell us what you want, what your clubs want, what we can do for you. That's, we get a lot of different requests. Some are kind of crazy, but that's okay. We like crazy. Let's get some input to keep these things going. Your club's got an idea, they're doing a balloon launch or whatever they're doing. They're involved with the Boy Scouts for a particular project, for amateur radio. Let us know about it and we'll try to find some presenters for that. Let's keep this stuff going in a very professional way so we can all enjoy it and enjoy our hobbies.
And we have some good stuff planned for the future.
Oh boy, do we. We've had our recent our Rat Pack meetings has been very exciting for me, to put it mildly. The addition of Anthony and a few of the others we've gotten on there has brought some really fresh, good ideas. Some of the stuff we've been wanting to do for some time, it now seems reasonable and within reach. So we're hoping 2021 will be even better for everybody.
We're going to have a presentation on AMSAT pretty soon, which will be interesting.
Well, don't give away all of our secrets, Barry.
Yeah.
Wait, aren't you publishing the future planned Rat Pack presentations on that spreadsheet?
Some of them.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's highly valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I forgot, let me just quickly show that because I forgot to show one thing, and I'm sorry that I forgot it. Let me just, if you don't mind here, me sharing my screen for just 1 second. I forgot to show this one thing. On either of the list, if you go down to the upcoming dates here, you'll notice that the dates are in red if they're in the future. If the date has a link with it, like this particular one here, if you click on that link, that'll take you to the Zoom link for that meeting. After the meetings, of course, the Zoom link will go away because it's of no use. But when you see this, when you see a red meeting here with a link on it, that means it's going to be the link for that Zoom meeting, so you can just get to it from right there.
I want to caution everybody looking at the future ones. We often have to shuffle things around. Somebody can't make a particular commitment because of something's come up, or well, the CEO of the ARL has stated that he wants to have a come on and talk to all the SMs and directors and such. But we don't know when he's going to do that. He says it's in February. So sometime in February he comes on, we're going to have to bump somebody. So what I'm saying is that that list is like Jello.
Tentative.
Yes. Okay.
I see that feature of the underline replacing a whole lot of your correspondence, Dan.
No, we want to hear from Dan. We enjoy his emails.
You want me to tell you how many a day I'm getting?
Hopefully you're just getting swamped with them. I'm just bugging you guys to death.
Oh, I like having the redundant copies at redundant email addresses.
If you're part of more than one group, IO group of ours, you're going to get more. If you are part of various groups, well, I just add them all. So they get, if you are in a multiple listings, you'll get multiple emails. There's a way to fix that. You can do it within the group's IO. You can tell who you want to have emails from and who not, but then you won't get the other emails. So it's a bug, but we work with it.
In case anyone's interested, the SEC Aries group has 1,125 members on the emailing list. The New Hams group has 100, and the ratpack has 83. And you're welcome to join any of them.
The difference between those largely, obviously, the SEC Aries group, with all those people on there, they're very active. There's lots and lots of conversations going on. They share ideas. They share every once we get somebody gets a little overhanded, and we have to say, hey, no, we don't want to do that. We keep it to a low roar, and we keep it professional, and they share lots and lots of information. If you're not into Aries and you're part of that group, you're not going to like all that email. If you're into Aries stuff, it's going to be a great value. The youth group right now has got over 100, you said there, Barry?
Yep.
Okay. That is a group I generated back when we were doing Oscar's thing with Puerto Rico for the youth thing. And that went on hold because of Corbett. It's going to come back. We got plans to make that happen, but it's months away as it looks right now. So right now, as I'm speaking, we have people that are working on something else. We want to kick youth group off, and we want to do it differently than we do otherwise. In other words, you've got a lot of YouTube, you've got a lot of places that tell mentors how to teach kids or how to do that. Our feelings is the youth should be teaching the youth. We should, whoever the mentors are should have a seasoned ham to help them and such. But kids will relate to kids just as adults relate to adults. And so we're going to try to do a whole different approach to it. We want to do it nationwide. We want to get people active, not only if they're in large cities, but in the rural areas of Iowa or wherever. So some of these people don't have the access that we hope to provide them. So that's kind of the direction we're trying to go with the youth group thing. Are there any questions on any of this?
And I just resent out the links for both the spreadsheets again, so I didn't have hyperlinks before.
Thank you very much. When I sent out the video thing tonight, Another reason I need to keep sending out these things is our videos are viewed worldwide now. We have people from all over viewing these things. It's a huge audience we have, and they're sharing it with other people. And I get emails from certain people that I hear you have a certain presentation. Can you give me a link to it? One of the bigger ones requests has been to our WinLink workshop. We had 11 of 12. We didn't get to the 12th one. There's been a lot of requests for that. And yes, they're all part of this spreadsheet, but there are people that, for whatever reason, they have to have it other ways. So we try to make it available any way they need it or want it. It's just by request. And now that we've got this spreadsheet out there that Anthony's done for us, it's going to be even more convenient.
By the way, we have currently had 262 views of the RatPack spreadsheet.
That will increase after this presentation, and we'll get that word out there. You know, folks, I started saying the first of last year, it's gone different directions. We've been in uncharted waters. It's because of all of you, the people who showed interest and showed up and made the same goal. And of course, later on, I put together what we could now call the RatPack group. That's improved considerably. It's helped me out a lot. We've got a lot of good flowing ideas, and we've got resources to find the speakers. We're doing some good stuff. We want to keep doing more good things, and we need your input. This is a Dan Mahler show. I'm sorry. This is us. This is amateur radio and us. So please participate. Tell us what you want, what you need, and we'll do our best to get back to you and make that possible. Okay, other than just hearing my head, my mouth going blah, 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 is there anything else anybody wants to say or questions?
I think we're good, and we didn't even have to have Oscar point to his wrist.
Yeah, that's right. This has been one of the shorter but more meaningful presentations we've had here for quite a while. Okay, folks, what do you think? We shut her down for now and get ready for tomorrow's?